गुड मॉर्निंग एंड वेलकम टू गना शॉट। गना शॉट में आप सबका स्वागत है। वेल, इंडिया has won the Asia Cup. Is it so? Are you sure? Well, I thought Pakistan won. Well, they took 5 wickets. 5 wickets is a win. Something like, what they claim, 7 down, 6 down, and Pakistan won, and China also blows it up and all. And they've taken the cup home. So, well, that's what we are dealing with. Okay. And congratulations to all our boys who had the tenacity to beat Pakistan. Whether it's the wire or not, it doesn't matter. They're giving them a good kick. Okay, let's get back to what we're going to talk of today. Great Nicobar, an overview. A lot of people have been asking, sir, can you tell us something about what's happening there in Andaman and Nicobar, Galatia Bay and all that? So I thought I'll give everyone an overview of what's happening and what's the context we are talking of, right? So that you understand the whole story, not view it in isolation. That is the worst thing. So let's start with the Indian Ocean region. Let's identify India's interests out here. I mean, the Indian Ocean is a vast ocean. Now, firstly, it's got choke points: the Madagascar Strait, the Bab el Mandeb, right? The Gulf of Hormuz, the Hormuz Straits, and of course, Malacca Strait. You choke these 4 entry points into the strait, end of story. Okay, right? And it has got certain island chains which are there. You can see out this is the Andaman and Nicobar Island. This is the Chagos Archipelago. And this, of course, Diego Garcia. This is Maldives. This is Minicoy. This is Indonesia. Okay. Now, if you see that you can't go everywhere, you see these blue lines, these are the places, channels where you could go through. And controlling islands either side of those channels become very important. So you control the channels and you control the entry points. You're in the game. And where does India's interest lie? It lies from the east coast of Africa to Indonesia or the Gulf of, if you go back in what Dr. Manmohan Singh said long back when he was the Prime Minister, India's interest lies from the Gulf of Aden to the Malacca Strait. I'll expand it, the complete Indian Ocean. Right? And we are prominently placed here. It's not only India projecting out the way it is, you also have island territories this side, you have island territories here, and you have taken up some island territories here by which and ports, Dukum and here, by which you can actually effectively control the Indian Ocean region. Right. And we'll talk of this as we go along. Now, when you look at the Indian Ocean region, the Indian Ocean and its geography, you have to understand the oceans might be big, but you can't go everywhere in an ocean. Just like there are mountains, there are undersea mountains. After all, the earth floor dips to the lowest level where the water is, and there are mountains underneath this. And some of these areas surface as reefs, islands, and all that. In the Indian Ocean region, there are 3 chain of islands, right? And these chain of islands are shallow areas, right? One is, of course, the Andaman and Nicobar Island, the Chagos Archipelago, which starts from Lakshadweep and goes down to Diego Garcia, and then the Seychelles-Mauritius reunion line. And this has limited channels to go through. You can't go everywhere, right? They're impediment. Yeah, small boats and all can go, but large vessels, submarines, bigger submarines and all are limited to stick to channels. You control these three archipelagos, right? And you control the Indian Ocean region. And this is where you need to be understanding. Lakshadweep, Minicoy, we control it. On the other end is Digo Garcia. Who has it? China. Who has enabled it to a large extent? India. Right? So we have an equation which you can't wish away with USA notwithstanding all these problems. And in between Maldives. You control this line, any movement east-west in the Indian Ocean is a problem. And China is struggling in this. Of course, Andaman Nicobar, it's there. It's like a wall. It just closes the Malacca Strait and poses the great Malacca dilemma to China. And then the Seychelles, Mauritius, Reunion chain. Reunion is, of course, a French territory. Seychelles is, of course, independent, but we have a island there called the Agaliga, which we have leased out, where there's a, we also have an airstrip there and we operate things like that. So virtually, you have presence in all these three reefs in a big way. And we're doing something with Madagascar. It's not that the Chinese are not there, but, well, we control the ocean. I have no doubt. Okay, coming down to the Andaman Nicobar, not to south, I just measured it with Google. It's about 700 plus kilometers, 750, 760, depending on where your pointer goes. And this island chain of 700 odd kilometers is critical. It actually closes the Malacca Strait. This is the Malacca Strait, right? It just closes the Malacca Strait. Anything coming out of this has to bash into this. Anything coming out of Myanmar, the China-Myanmar economic corridor, okay, that also has to run into the Andaman Nicobar island chain. If you're here, you control the northern Bay of Bengal also. Between Calcutta and this place, you control the northern Bay of Bengal. And I'll explain this a little ahead. And, well, it's very difficult for whether it's China or anyone to operate. Yeah, you can operate merchant vessels and go through and all that as per international maritime rules. But to get a major naval force into this area, you need bases. And that bases are not there for China. As of now, people say China has one base in Djibouti, another half a base in Gwadar. It's not a base, but it's a place where they can go there. And some people count Hambantota as a base. And where Hambantota is here, right? But Hambantota is hardly a base because it's very difficult. It's a very vulnerable base because it's too near India, right, to make it into a big base. If things had gone as per Chinese plans, by now it would have been a major naval base. But unfortunately, it's not. Fortunately for us, it's not. Unfortunately for them. Right, let's get ahead. Well, let's look at the Andaman Nicobar archipelago. Okay, right. It consists over about 500 islands. Not to south, I said 700 kilometers. Over these 700 kilometers, there are 500 islands, right? And they're separated by what is called the 10-degree channel. Why 10 degree? What is 10 degree? It is 10-degree latitude. It's a 10-degree latitude. Okay, I have to go back here. This is somewhere 10 degrees. Okay, this is a 10-degree latitude. So all ships coming out of here have to go out from here. Of course, there is one, you can go down from the south of Nicobar. That's called the 6-degree channel. But that's not that great. It's a 10-degree channel, which is actually very wide, where everything can pass through. Okay, and that lies, as you see here, I'll make it full. Yeah, that lies between Little Andaman and Car Nicobar. Just to give you an idea, this map also tells you the layout of the Andaman Nicobar Islands. The Andaman Islands are the bigger ones. You have North Andaman, the Middle Andaman, and the South Andaman. Right? And then you have the Little Andaman, which is a little away from the Andaman. and there's a passage called the Duncan Passage. South of Little Andaman is the Nicobar group of islands. The northernmost of this is Karnik or Karnikobar. And after that, the whole lot of islands, the largest one is called the Great Nicobar, which is the southernmost. And between Little Andaman and Karnik, there's about 200 plus kilometers of distance. And Karnikobar is a place where we have an Air Force base. Right? And of course, this entire area is prone to tsunamis and storms and all that. In the 2004 tsunami, our base was completely washed off. So just to put you in picture about this whole story. Right? So that's what the larger picture of this place is. Of course, there are a whole lot of other places, small islands around Andaman, where some are inhabited, some are not inhabited. Many are tribal, some are not tribal, and all that. And Andamans, if you go there, is a very interesting place. You do come across tribals and reserves who are not allowed to mix with the armed populace, and the populace there also is a mixed populace. I'll come to that. Okay, so this is it. The population is pretty diverse out there. Indigenous tribes and settlers. Basically, the indigenous settlers. The indigenous tribes are of two varieties. Negrito, they look like completely, these are the Great Andamanese, Jarawas, Onges, and Sentinelese. And they are supposed to be someone from a Negroid variety who was drifted from Africa and settled here. You go them, they're completely dark, curly hair, small, completely Negroid features. And largely these are Jarawas, Onges, and Sentinelese who live in isolation, and they're kept in isolation. And for good reasons. It's not as if we can't develop them. But they are people of the nature, and many times they're quite hostile to you, and they're kept that way, and they're allowed to live their life. Of course, there are issues with this also, as development has gone and people have gone there and all that. But it's somewhere there. Okay. And then when you come down to the Nicobar Islands, they are mongoloid in nature. Right? And they're mongoloid in nature. They're the Nicobarese and the Shompen who are down below us. Great Nicobar has some Shompen tribes also. And these people are the ones who have come from the Malay Peninsula, Burma, and from beyond on the Indochina area. Right? So you have a mix. Okay. And these people, many of them are in islands where no one is allowed to go, and they're in reserves of their own. Now, as far as people from others, right, they're all settlers. You see, originally this was a place which the British went and established themselves. Then somewhere the Japanese also came. They took over this entire area in the Second World War after the fall of Singapore, and the British were on the run. And thereafter, when the Japanese were defeated, the British took over. But in the process, a lot of people from mainland India went and settled there. And of course, they have a jail, the cellular jail in Port Blair, which is the main city, where they're basically freedom fighters who were kept there, like Veer Savarkar and all that. I'll not go into that history. But as a result, you find people largely people speak Bengali, they speak Hindi, they speak Tamil and Telugu, because these are the prominent languages which from the coast. And this is one place where the official language is Hindi. Everyone speaks Hindi there. Okay. And there's nothing much there. Agriculture, fishing, forestry, that's it. There's lack of water because there's no rivers there. It's all water which you collect and keep, or well water or stored water and underground storage and all. Well, there are issues, but we'll not get into that. We'll to look to what we are looking at. Now let's get back to this. Andamans. See, the entire chain is about 1300 kilometers from Calcutta, 1200 kilometers from Chennai, 1400 kilometers from Sri Lanka. Myanmar is about 500 kilometers. Thailand coast is 450, which is the nearest actually, right? The Malaysia is 975 kilometers, and Indonesia is 155. 155 is from the middle of Andaman and Nicobar, but when you go to Great Nicobar, just across. Actually, when you take off from Campbell Bay, right, and go to Indra Point and take off from there, you can see Aceh, Banda Aceh, across. So it's actually that close. It's not very far, right? So you see that from mainland India, it's quite equidistant. And you see the coasts. That's why Bengalis have gone there, Telugu people have gone there, even some Odias have gone there, and Tamil people have gone there. And all three inhabit Andaman Nicobar. Okay. More Andaman, Nicobar doesn't have that kind of a thing. Nicobar, main thing is the Air Force station at Karnak. Okay. Now let's look at this. Where is Galatia Bay and Great Nicobar? If you see this is the Andaman Islands, this is Port Blair, and this is Little Andaman. Now this is Karnak. Okay, this is the 10-degree channel. Down south of this, Kutchal, Yevo, Non-Kauri, all these, this is Great Nicobar. Southernmost point. That is where the southern point called Indra Point, which is the southernmost part of India. Okay. There's a nice lighthouse there which goes underwater whenever, all that. But that's a different story. Let's get here. This is the Galatia, the Great Nicobar Island. And here at the bottom is the Galatia Bay. This is what we're going to talk of. What does Galatia Bay give us? Okay, this is Galatia Bay, right? There's going to be development here. There's no doubt about it. There's going to be an airport here. There's going to be a power station here. There's going to be a lot of bays for ships. There's going to be shipping, normal merchant shipping, as also a place for Navy and Coast Guard. Right? All three components are there in this whole story. And understand, this port is just 40 nautical miles from Malacca Strait. And it lies at a place where 35% of global trade passes through. So the Galatia Bay and the Galatia Port is part of the Greater Nicobar Holistic Development Project. Like I said, it includes a Greenfield International Airport, a power plant, and a township. All this is going to come. There's going to be development in the south. But in the north, there's going to be a reserve where people can't go, where the Nicobaris are going to be kept. Well, we'll see how it goes, but this is part of our story. And why do you need it? I mean, this is the way they're looking at it. So many bays and things like that. You go anywhere into the net, and you'll find this picture with the entrance and all that. That's fine. So there are going to be a lot of facilities for shipping and transshipping. So what is going to happen? Understand this. Ships will come from here. So far, all transshipment takes place at Klang or Singapore. They come here, big ships, they come here, offload, transshipped into smaller ships, and from here, it comes to India. Now, we pay a hell of a lot for that, the transshipment. The transshipment charges and all go to Singapore there. Now with Galatia Bay coming, any shipping to India comes to Galatia Bay, offloads here, transships, and takes it here. And the reverse also true. Any exports from here will go to Galatia Bay, gets transshipped and moves out. So it becomes our own sovereignty. And similarly, on the other side is that Vizinjam, which has already started functioning. So on either coast, now you have two international transshipment ports. Okay. And this will be used by others also. Others also will come and use it once, right? And India is such a big country with so much trade going through both ways, in and out. And you have deep water ports on either side and transshipment facilities on either side, right? And you can do what you want. So that's the major thing. And you're sitting on the major waterways. And you then it becomes competition to international people. They want to come, they can come. So, and we're going to develop in phases, right? That's what in this slide I've shown. It reduces reliance on foreign ports. 75% of India's transshipped cargo is currently handled at foreign ports like Singapore, Colombo, Port Klang. The Galatia Bay port aims to capture a significant portion of this cargo. Galatia port plus Vijayanagar. Slowly, with the kind of strength India has, we'll start, And of course, as the world grows and overall trade grows and all, you need more infrastructure. This is part of that. Okay, this will become a major transshipment hub for cargo, basically from India's east coast, Myanmar, and Bangladesh. All three. And of course, it saves cost. We will be saving anything up to 200 to 220 million annually. So what you save will pay initially for its expansion, and you get presence. You have a maritime component, you have an international interest in that, and a defense component, and then you're on a different grid altogether. Right? This is going to be on a PPP model, right? And there are 4 state-owned ports from the mainland who are interested in it. I'll not go into details. We know that it's a PPP model. You're going to spend about 44,000 crores. And eventually, you will have 16 million TEUs. TEUs, 20-foot equivalent units per year. In the first phase, they're going to be about it's going to be in multi-phases. They're now saying 4 phases. It could be 3 phases, 4 phases. We don't know. But by 2028, the first phase will start operating. And when the first phase starts operating, it will start paying for the second, third, fourth phase. And the first phase is about 25%, that is about 4 million 20-foot long equivalent units. 20-foot means a 20-foot ship, how many cargo, 20-foot is the size of a container, 20-foot container. So it can handle 4 million 20-foot containers initially, and as days go by, it will increase. Now, this is a significant thing. Okay. I just thought I'll put it across to everyone. And more significant than all this is this. See, this is the 10-degree channel between, Little Andaman and Karnik. This is Little Andaman, 10-degree channel. Okay. And this is the 9-degree channel. What is the 9-degree channel? Between the Lakshadweep archipelago and Minicoy. That's ours. Minicoy to the south and Lakshadweep to the north. Ships have to go. They can't go everywhere. I told you, initially. Chagos archipelago. And then you have the 8-degree channel between Minicoy and Maldives. And in Minicoy, INS Jatayu, you put a station there. It's a small station, but the way I look at it, put a couple of BrahMos units out there, even underground, whatever it is. You control this 8-degree and 10-degree channel. 9-degree channel. So, in essence, the complete thing, look at this. This is the INS Jatayu, which is there on Minicoy Island. So, entire routing, they have to go through either north or south of INS Jatayu. And then they have to, look at this. They have to go north or south of Jatayu, whether they go this side or they go this side. And then they have to go either south or north of Galatia Bay. Now, if they go through the 10-degree channel, you look at the ports here. That's the interesting part. Let me now take you back. Yeah. Look at the ports here. You will have a port here in Great Nicobar, Galatia Bay, with your navy. You have one in Port Blair. And at the north, there's something called Discalimer. And that also is being developed, where you can use. It's a small port. But over time, that capacity will also increase. 3 ports here, a major airport in Port Blair, full-fledged, exclusively Indian Air Force thing in Nicobar, and an airport in the south in Great Nicobar, an international airport. Now, with this kind of a deployment, what happens? Nothing can move out of Malacca Straits. And as our economy grows, and if you operate submarines and ships, you don't need to get aircraft carriers. You have 1,000 kilometers virtually worth of aircraft carrier, which can't go anywhere. Okay, you can't go anywhere. No one can sink it. Unsinkable aircraft carrier. Jai Hind. To whom? China. So China is worried actually. They don't write about it. They're watching it very closely. Okay. Okay. So this is what Galatia Bay is all about, and things will progress. You might feel that, look, this is the sum total of what's going to happen in Galatia Bay and Great Nicobar. Look at it over the entire Andaman and Nicobar, and look at it over the entire Indian Ocean. Right? As days go by, our grip on the Indian Ocean will keep increasing. People don't understand it. And, it's not a matter of having many things which you can't operate. You can't get an aircraft carrier here. You see, the aircraft carriers of China, they need fuel. The Fujian, with the latest one, electromagnetic propulsion, not propulsion, of aircraft, right? Much is being made out of it, but it needs fuel, and that needs hell of a lot of fuel. Emails need a lot of fuel, and there's also a thing which is coming out that when it is taking off, a jet is taking off, something can't land. You can't do simultaneous operations on Fujian, so your sortie rate is low. The sortie rate is low, and you don't have staying power. How can you get that Fujian into this area? The first Liaoning is gone. I mean, the first one, Shandong, is almost, it's used only as a training carrier. Liaoning has got major problems. More than 6 months in a year, it's in a shipyard. And this also has its own problem. In fact, today only I was reading an article in Guancha where it says, look, it's not good enough to have these ships. The more important thing is they should be serviceable. And Chinese have been having problems. So don't get carried away by Chinese having 3 carriers and all that. And mind you, I saw, look, our Vikrant, much better. Vikrant, Vikramaditya, all these, their serviceability is much better than the Chinese carriers as at this point of time. And they can, and for example, 80,000 ton carrier which Fujian is, it takes about 24 hours to start up and get going. That's the thing. So there are problems, right? Yeah. So with this, I thought a short one today. If you liked it, press the like button, subscribe to Gunner Shot, and also join in as YouTube members for Gunner Shot. And I'd like to thank everyone, every member who's been with me right from day one. I must keep repeating this. My immense gratification to them. Right, I'm so happy, and I thank all of you. I also thank all my subscribers. I'd like you to see this more and get more of your friends in. I see a lot of people coming from Pakistan, China, and even other places. Well, come. You might have a difference of opinion. I have no problem. You might curse me. I have no problem with that. But don't be derogatory. Okay. You want to be derogatory, then no, this thing. The Pakistani, you don't like my face, don't mind. You think I'm not fit to be a general. Well, that's your choice. But remember one thing. This is a message to all Pakistanis. I was instrumental in getting BrahMos in a big way in the army, in the Indian army. Okay. And later, of course, the Air Force took it up and all. And you know what BrahMos are? You don't know? Look at Air Nur Khan base. Look at Sargoda. Look at Rahim Yar Khan. Look at all your bases. Somewhere or the other, I have my hand there. Okay. So, and you chaps could do nothing. Like I said, you claim 6, 7 aircraft that you shot down. It's like Asia Cup. So, this is my message to Pakistanis. And Chinese, well, welcome. We'll first welcome you in Andaman and Nicobar if you have bad intent. And then the mainland. Mainland is far off. Right.